So I was reading that apparently Mista's backstory, similar to the last one, actually got introduced earlier than it was in the manga, but also apparently only about half of it was actually revealed in this week's episode. And if that is true, I actually think that's the best way to go about it, because for me personally, like, I mean, it's clear that we didn't see the full backstory even for myself who never read the manga, because we never saw how he got introduced to Bruno's gang. They're probably leaving that second half for whenever it was originally introduced in the manga, but the first little chunk of it was more so to kind of show viewers like myself who don't know the source material what type of personality this guy truly has, but also his weird luck and kind of destiny that kind of keeps him alive in situations that really shouldn't happen. I mean, we see him such over the top in just JoJo scenes where he's literally dodging bullets just because destiny's on his side in that case. I mean, granted, there could be a bit more at play there. I'll have to wait and see till I see the full backstory, but I think that's why they pulled that off, similar to last backstory that we witnessed, introducing it earlier rather than saving it for later, because this is an episode focusing on someone like Mista. It makes the most sense to get the viewer a bit more acquainted with a character such as him, and the backstory from what I've seen so far was really engaging, especially seeing just how he was living his life up to the point that eventually got him into trouble, you know, seeing a very disturbing scene but not over glorified scene of a woman getting beaten to near death and him stepping in, kicking some ass, being a badass, and just how his personality kind of translated to all the individuals in this city. I thought it was a nice way to start the episode off, really showing us who he is as a character, get us right back into the swing of things with the action. I think that was actually a really smart move. As long as we do see the remainder of the backstory down the line, I think this is the proper way to go about introducing us to this character while giving him a bit of depth before jumping right back into that action. Though I have to say, once again, I just really love how these stands are functioning. I mean, you look at pretty much any character that we've seen a stand for in terms of our main cast so far, and you're gonna think, naturally, that's an amazing stand, that's overpowered, that's absolutely ridiculous, how is anyone going to top that? And what I enjoy about JoJo, especially lately, is how when we get introduced to characters that will either be around for a while, or just, like in this case, a seemingly one-and-done character, unless they reintroduce them later, is how they can always find ways to make viewers, at least for myself, think, okay, you won up the stand once again, now our character who I thought was overpowered is actually the weakling in this fight, and that's how they keep these fights interesting, because if every character that we focus on in terms of protagonists were overpowered to the point that no one could stand in their way, then fights would be one and done deals and there would be no stakes, at least on the line there. So the fact that we have characters like, you would think, Mista Stand, you know, these little bullets that can kind of control the directions, they have personalities, they have their own ways of thinking, you would think, oh, that's easy, you can just direct it, kill a person, move on with your day. But then when you get introduced to a man who can basically stop things, force things to stick to whatever he wants, so if a bullet goes in his head, he can stop it right then and there before it does too much damage. It's just perfect. I really like the creativity so far with this part of JoJo, because it really finds ways to one-up itself, put you into a situation where you think, okay, Giorno's got this, Mista's got this, everyone's got this, because their stand's amazing, they're a badass character, they can't possibly lose, and comes a new stand that you think is even more ridiculous, but you also know for the most part they're probably going to get out of it alive, but at the same time, characters can die in JoJo, so it finds this way to keep you worried, but also hopeful all at the same time as you watch these fights unfold, and the fights have been damn creative so far. I really like just learning about this guy's stand. I think my favorite point is when he's actually climbing rocks that he throws midair and then freezes them. So it's just, you look at that and you think that is so ridiculous, but that would actually be a pretty handy stand to have in real life. And just how many times you think, man, this is it, he's finally getting killed, and nope, this guy's absolutely ridiculous. And I think the way Mista actually does come to defeat him, I like it. I thought there would be, like, maybe Giorno would have to pop in and save the day, but really he just keeps wandering around. Poor truck driver who keeps getting screwed around saying, stop, go, I'm not going to be a taxi, and then ultimately had to be a taxi again. But I actually thought something really ridiculous, or something like another party would have to come in, because really he was out of bullets at the end of the episode. But I do like how it was kind of a plan of getting them all together, using his own bullet against him to then use a bullet to go through the same wound to push the other one. Like, that was pretty damn clever, and I appreciate that, because JoJo can be stupid and solve things in stupid manners, but I do like it when it's a bit more clever, like it was in this week's episode. And I mean, when you just see these adorable little bastards, I mean, there's something really charming about them. Like, so far, it's my favorite stand in this part, because when you have a personality behind your stand and there's multiple, you know, these little guys, their voices are adorable, but they're not like, I really think when I look at them just as a design, I would think overly high-pitched voice is what I would assume, you know, Sex Pistols would actually get, but the fact that it actually is a very charming and almost childlike innocence, it's just so perfect that I don't know how an English dub would actually cast that, because it feels so perfect in Japanese, and it's just perfect. Like, seriously, it's amazing. And I just really like this episode because, once again, we're getting a bit more characterization before just jumping into the action, because it would be very easy to just have characters like Mista fight and then that's it, but I'm glad that they did introduce a bit of backstory to flesh him out on a deeper level, get us to understand how he's not just the standard marksman, he actually is superstitious. He does have his own weird kind of quirks and kind of ways he functions, like he has the phobias of numbers because it's bad luck and things like that, and I just like how he isn't someone who always just hits his target and moves on. He gets hit himself. It makes him a character worth following and definitely has climbed up my favorites rank so far. I mean, amazing episode, amazing season of JoJo so far. It really feels like David Production is just having a blast. I mean, last week we have the over-the-top dance that apparently was very quick and short in the manga, but then David Production just extended it tenfold because it seems like this is just, they love this part, they want to give it so much attention, and I think it definitely shows in the quality that we've been seeing so far. Very creative stand, very creative fight. Also like the little bit of a backstory that we got introduced to, and I hope to see the conclusion of it eventually down the line. Let me know whatever you thought of this week's episode of JoJo. Favorite moment, favorite whatever you want to say about this episode, because seriously, JoJo this week, and just this part in general has been damn impressive. Let me know whatever you're feeling, and be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and also hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content from me in the future. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.